Welcome back, folks. Today I'm going to be showing you guys the enchantments and what they are good for. This is going to be an enchantment guide to help you guys out in your Minecraft journey. First of all, I should probably explain to what enchantments are in case you are new. But enchantments are things that help make your weapons better, your armor, tools, stuff like that. And I will go through each and every enchantment, but essentially how you get them are generally 15 books around an enchanting table, and you can place a item in and get uh, enchantments on them like this, or you can get them as loot. There is multiple ways to get them, but at any rate, guys, the basics of enchanting. So if you're going to the one thing I want to explain right away, if you're going to take something like sharpness 4 and you want to get it to the next tier, because sharpness 5 is the max level, you actually have to put two 4s together, and you can add enchantments in the anvil as what I'm doing. It does cost levels, but you can see here, we start with a 4. If we add another 4, it goes to 5. If you add a sharpness 1 book to it, it will just stay sharpness 4. It won't actually change. So just keep that in mind. And also, too, in the anvil, you can actually combine books like that. So we have two 4s, and they do make a 5. And towards the end of the video, I will be showing you guys what enchantments I use on each weapon and tool, so make sure you stick around for that. Just to let you guys know too, if you do like this, we do Let's Plays and more guides on the channel. But I want this to be a very quick video, so let's get started. We're going to start with the enchantments you can put on anything, guys. And that is mending. And how mending works is can heal your damage items with levels. So, or your XP orbs on the ground. It has a maximum level of 1, and it is one that you can't actually get through the enchantment table. You have to find a book. Also here, this is unbreaking. This to any item will increase durability, and it does have 3 tiers of it. This is one of the handiest ones. These two are probably two of the handiest things in the game. And our other enchantment you can put on any item in the game is Curse of Vanishing. It is pretty not good, obviously, it's in red. But what happens is when you die with this enchantment, whatever item has it vanishes and you can never get it back. Up next is the armors, and one thing too I want to add about enchantments as we get into the armor is protection and projectile protection overlap, so you cannot put both of them on the same item. There are a few enchantments that overlap each other, as well as infinity and mending on a bow and certain things like that. So if you wonder why you can't put an enchantment on, that is probably why, guys. Some do overlap, but let's get started with our armor enchantments. With Aqua Affinity, it is a max level of 1, and it increases how fast you can mine underwater, because naturally you slow down underwater in Minecraft. Blast Protection reduces the explosion damage and knockback that you can get, and it has a max level of 4. Curse of Binding, when you put this on armor, and it only can go on armor, as with all these enchantment, it cannot be taken off until you die or it breaks, and it has a max level of 1. This is generally one you never want on any item. Sometimes you'll get it, though, on a good item and maybe like a treasure. Depth Strider 3 increases how fast you go through water. It is a big help on armor, and it is a max level of 3. Feather Falling reduces fall damage, and it has a max of 4. This one is super beneficial when you're building, especially when you fall. And Fire Protection reduces fire time and how long it does burn you. And it does have a max of 4. Frost Walker changes the water below you if you're walking on water, and it turns it into ice, so you can walk right across the lakes. And also, one thing that I don't think a lot of players know is when you walk, you can walk on magma blocks with it, not lava, but magma blocks with it without having to crouch. Projectile protection is pretty self-explanatory. It reduces projectile damage like arrows, and it has a max of 4. And protection reduces almost all types of damage, and it reduces it by 4% each tier. And it is a max level of 4. And our next step is respiration, and this makes you breathe longer underwater, and it is a max of 3. Soul speed is really interesting because it makes you walk really fast on soul sand and soul soil, but it does wear out with durability when you are walking on them two blocks as well. It has a max level of 3. Thorns actually, if you get hit by something, it returns some damage to whatever hit you. This also costs durability, just so you know, and the max level is 3. Next up are our melee weapon enchantments, and we will start with Bane of Arthropods as a max enchantment of level 5 and increases damage to spiders, cave spiders, silverfish, endermites, and bees. One thing, too, I don't think a lot of people know about this is it actually applies slowness to them. So you could actually hit one of the arthropod mobs and then run away quickly if you wanted to. Channeling is for tridents. It is a max level 1, and when it is thunderstorming out, you can hit your target with a lightning strike. And just so you know, the target can't have a roof over it as well because it will not work. Next up is Fire Aspect with a max enchantment of 2. The if you put it on a weapon, it'll make any of your targets burn, which is quite handy. And this actually works really well for like pigs and cows. The meat that you get from them will already be cooked instead of raw. Looting is kind of self-explanatory. It is a max level 3, but you get more items from mobs that you kill. And impaling is for tridents. And what it is it does more damage that spawn naturally in water, for example, like drowned. And the max enchantment is 5. Up next is a knockback. And what that does is when you hit something, it'll push the mobs away from you. And that will really help you out, especially with for example, like zombies, you get some room to get another hit in again. And sharpness, it just increases the overall weapon damage. This is one of the best melee enchantments you can get. And smite is increased damage to undead mobs like zombies and skeletons. A lot of the mobs fall under the smite category. It has a max enchantment of 5. One thing, too, not in Bedrock, that if you're playing on Java, will be Sweeping Edge, is a max enchantment of 3, and it actually will increase your sweeping damage to multiple enemies. Next up is the range weapons enchantments, and we're going to start with Flame, and it will make your arrows set your targets on fire. It is a max level of 1. Infinity is one of the most handiest things because when you're shooting with your bow, it will make it so that it does not use up any of your arrows. You just have to have one arrow in your inventory, and you can just continuously shoot. Is a max level of 1. Loyalty is makes it so that a trident will come back to you after it's being thrown, and the higher level it is, the faster it will return to you. It is a max level of 3. A Riptide is when applied to a trident, it will launch you out of water, or you can use it in rain and it kind of flings yourself ahead. It is really handy when you have a Elytra on. That's when I use it most because it can help you get into the air. Multi-shot is you, you it shoots out 3 arrows at the cost of only 1. And when you shoot it, you can only recover 1 arrow, so it acts like 3, but you can't use it to like gain arrows or nothing else like that. It is a max level of 1. Piercing is where, when applied, it will make it so the arrows can pass through multiple targets. And power increases your arrow damage, and that goes up to 5. And punch uh, gives your arrows push ability, so it'll knock them back, kind of like knockback for a sword. Quick charge makes a crossbow reload quicker, and it is a max level of 3. Now we are on to the tool enchantments, for example, like your shovels, your picks, stuff like that. Efficiency, it will make the tool work much faster. It is a max level of 5. And up next is Fortune, the max level of 3. And sometimes you can get more items from a block. For example, on diamonds, if you have Fortune 3, you can, instead of get 1, sometimes you'll get a lot more, like 3 or 4. That one's a very handy one to have, obviously. Luck of the Seas is makes the uh, fishing pole get a higher rate of rare items like enchanted books, stuff like that. It is a max level of 3. And Lure decreases the wait time in between bites, so it is make your fishing pole get more bites quicker. And Silk Touch is mind blocks will drop uh, as you see them instead of breaking into other items. So, for example, if you have Silk Touch and you go ahead and collect grass, it will turn into grass and not just a dirt block. It will be a grass block like this. Also, if you have enchantments on a tool, armor, or weapon that you don't want on there outside of the cursed ones, they will not come off, but you can remove your enchantments through a grindstone right here. Just keep in mind that when you do this, it will take all enchantments off but the cursed ones and give you experience back. And just in case you guys were wondering what enchantments go are best on which item, I put together how I build all my items. Now keep in mind everybody plays differently, but as a rule of thumb, this is how I do it. These are the enchantments on my bow. Is I do not put mending on my bow because you cannot have mending and infinity on a bow at the same time. I don't use a crossbow much, but when I do, this is the enchantments I put on these. And also, if you want, you guys can pause the video to check these out. Also, I don't use a trident too much, but this is what I do when I do use one. And elytra, mending and breaking, fishing pole are pretty straightforward on that one. And here's my armor. I normally put a lot on my armor because it is the most important. And you can always go through and pause these, like I said, just to see what is on each one. And for the sword, I know a lot of people will put fire aspect and knockback, but because I like to fight Enderman, I don't, because when you put knockback or fire aspect on, it'll make them teleport around the map. As well as knockback, I generally don't use because fighting skeletons, it gives them the advantage. But here we go. And then also, I actually do build a second pick with the exact same setup, but instead of Fortune, I have Silk Touch as well. One thing to mention on this axe is that it does have sharpness, because if you look at its attack, it is pretty good compared to the other ones. And I do fight with a axe sometimes. And for the shovel, I put Silk Touch on it for grass, mycelium, stuff like that, so I can get them blocks. And I will go through this really quickly, but hopefully this guide helps you out. We'll see you next time. And like I said, guys, if you like the channel, consider subscribing and sticking around, because we do a lot of Minecraft on the channel, including Let's Plays. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful day. We'll see you next time.